Morning. Welcome to Awkwardly Awesome. My name is Regan, and I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about diet. Before I get started, I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and if you like my video, please share, like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, do whatever you need to make sure that you get the next video. I really appreciate the views, and please, and I'm not on Facebook, so, or Twitter or Instagram or any of those. I know as a YouTube content provider or creator, I should be a shameless self-promoter, but I found that I spent much too much time on those platforms when I was a part of them, and I found that they brought me down. I'd find myself face bickering with a stranger by 11 a.m. Uh, you know, every day. So since I haven't been on them, I'm on MeWe. My friends and I switched to there, and then it just never took off the same. So I just basically say I'm not on social media at all. If you haven't realized already, I've got a big mouth. I like to talk. I like the sound of my own voice, and I like the way my thoughts sound when they're presented out loud. Sometimes. Sometimes I'll say something and be like, oh shit, that sounded a whole lot better in your head. Probably should have kept it there. But I spent most of my adult life being fat, and a lot of my childhood as well. When I was about 12 years old, 11 or 12, my parents came back. I'm just checking where, yeah, I should be okay. My parents came back from Papua New Guinea, where we were missionaries, and my mom, you know, I tend to overdo things in my life. And at that point, my mom kind of overdid the desserts thing. She was like, well, you don't have desserts when we're there as much. We had she's a great baker, and we had lots of those types of desserts, but we didn't have stuff like bought and shit, right? Like ice cream and candy and all that. So mom kind of took a loose rein on that, and I took full advantage of it. And I don't blame mom. I thank her for the time there that I was able to just really indulge my sweet tooth. It might not have been the best thing for me, but I probably would have resented it if I couldn't have. So I'm just going to be grateful for the fact that I was able to, indulge that part of myself. After I had my heart attack, I lost 60 pounds. That seems almost unbelievable. I had always considered myself to be a medium and I kind of figured I had short legs, and I do. I don't have really long legs, but I have a fairly decent size, length torso. But I just figured that I was like a medium-sized man with short legs, right? I'm just a little bit shorter and blah, and you know what? I was just fat. I'm a small man with fat, or I was. Today I jumped on the scale. I was 148 when I woke up this morning, so I'm feeling good about that. I just shot this video already once, and because I had my Bluetooth speaker on, and I wasn't paying attention, even now, I forgot to check the time strictly, so I'll have to cut this video off a little shorter than I would like to. But I wasn't paying attention, and when I went to listen to the video back, I thought that I had wrecked the sound, and so I deleted the whole thing, and here I am shooting it again. I lost 60 pounds, though, basically without even trying to. I wasn't trying to lose weight. I was just trying to eat healthier. I figured that I was already a decent weight, and I just wanted to, improve my cholesterol scores and whatever for the blood work that my doctor had me doing. I didn't follow my doctor's advice with the diet that they sent me home with from the hospital. My ex bought me a copy of Stephen Gundry's Plant Paradox, which I mentioned in a previous video, and it was a game changer, absolute game changer. The things that I eat now are nothing like what I used to eat. The first time I got onto the Plant Paradox and I started eating an avocado, I had tears running down my face because it was such a death of my old self. Because I was a double cheeseburger, baconator, extra cheese on my pizza, let's throw bacon on that kind of guy. That's, people will say, well, that's why you had a heart attack. And maybe it was. But it also could have been that no-bake cheesecake mix that I ate just by the spoon in the weeks leading up to my heart attack. So it could have been that too. Let's not throw everything on bacon. Bacon's delicious. although it does kind of make you smell bad. Um, and then that's a fact. My next point here is to eat healthy, and you do want to eat healthy. You want to be eating. These days, most of my calories comes from the healthy oils or healthy fats and oils. This morning I had an avocado with lemon squeezed over it and some Cajun seasoning, and a big handful of pistachios. And that's my breakfast. I might have a couple eggs later if I feel like it, but it's almost 11 o'clock now, so I'm probably just gonna wait till lunch and I'll have something then. You know, maybe I'll have eggs. Eggs are fantastic, but your doctor might not have been taught the right advice to give you. My brother follows his doctor's advice, and he had a heart attack 7 months after I did. He follows his doctor's advice, and he still has all kinds of chest pain. He has dietary issues, and although his heart attack was more severe than mine, the damage in his arteries was more widespread. I had like one problem spot, and he had like 10. His situation, he may be going in for bypass surgery, within the next 15-20 years. And that's not his doctor saying that. That's just my own opinion. I've seen the chart that for his heart there, and it seemed like, to my uneducated eye, but with a little bit of personal experience, it seems like there's still some problems in there that might flare up later if he doesn't watch his diet. He doesn't want me to be right, so he listens to his doctor. I'm listening to Dr. Stephen Gundry. He's a superstar heart doctor. Having Dr. Gundry in your corner is like listening to the mainstream doctors is like having a high school coach teach you how to play basketball. Having Dr. Gundry teach you about your heart health is like being taught by Michael Jordan, if he wasn't a pompous person like I've heard he is. He's not a good teacher, but he definitely has the skills, and he knows the game. Nobody's ever going to take that away from MJ. Yeah, your doctor might have been trained wrong. There's been a fad for the last few years that people should be eating a lot of whole grains, and eat your grain in the most raw, unprocessed form possible. And I heard another guy the other day who's I believe he's a doctor say the same thing, right? And he's all into natural health, and he's into being healthy. He's not trying to sabotage your health, but he believes it, and so he tells people that. Dr. Gundry, on the other hand, he says, I'm not going to get into all the details of it. If you are interested in the plant paradox diet, go check it out. I don't want to summarize it here for Dr. Gundry and take away any book sales. It's hard enough to sell a book these days. The thing about this food that I eat now is it costs more, and I'm not going to deny that. It costs more, but you eat less of it, and it does more. It's like burning premium gas in your car. If you burn premium in a modern vehicle, you're going to go much further than you would if you were burning regular. And people would say, yeah, but it costs more. It does, but it takes you much further for the amount of money that you spend. I had a 1988 Toyota Corolla that I would burn premium in. I could go 386 kilometers on a tank of regular, because I probably could have gone further if I would have driven it nicer. But with the regular, I could go 386 kilometers. I think that was the furthest I ever was willing to go, without risking running out of fuel. And with premium, I would go 590. It was just under 600 before I'd pull into the gas station. And that's a 50% increase, and I was paying 20 to 25% more for the fuel. So your price per kilometer when you burn premium goes significantly down. Broccoli is your new bestie. Cruciferous greens in general, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, all of those. Those are fantastic things for you to eat. I eat a lot of onions as well. I eat a lot. I like celery, lots of cabbage. I eat a lot of cabbage. I think that's another cruciferous green, perhaps. Leafy greens, cruciferous greens. Those are the things you really want to be eating. And what I found is they eliminate a whole lot of personal health problems. Like BO. Your body odor tends to go away. I won't get into all the details, but I don't smell bad. I know you say, well, you can't smell yourself. I ask other people if I smell bad, and they say, no, you smell good, right? You smell fine. There's nothing wrong, right? I knew a guy who showered 3 times a day and stunk. He stunk like rotten milk and pig shit nonstop, and it's because he ate awful foods. He loved cheese, and he would just pound cheese into his face. Oh, I love cheese! And he'd slice the big, thick slices, and he'd throw tons of it on his pizza when he made pizza. He made pizza one time with cheese. It was like 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick after it was all melted down on top of the pizza. And he had thick wads of meat in there too. It was a super stacked pizza. It looked like it would be great, but there was so much oil and fat and like unhealthy fats in it that the crust was no longer a crust. It was like a soggy diaper underneath, and it wasn't good pizza. We fed a lot of it to the dog, and we took it for granted because it didn't taste great. Tree nuts in moderation are amazing. I mean, unless you're allergic to them, don't go kill yourself with tree nuts because I said that they're amazing. But my breakfast this morning was pistachios and an avocado, and then that's gonna carry me well into the day. It's high quality food. Fats and oils require 3% of the energy that you put into your body in order to process them. Carbs require 60% of the energy from the carbs. So you eat a slice of bread, you're only getting 40% of the energy that's in that bread because the other 60% of that slice is used to process the 40% in a usable fashion. Oils, on the other hand, 3% and 97%. It's just a higher quality fuel for your body. And higher quality fuel means cleaner burn. Cleaner burn means less maintenance problems in the long run. Eggs, once again, eggs are fantastic. I love to eat eggs. I never used to. In fact, I think I read a book called King Rat by James Clavell, and it was about guys in a prison camp, and eggs was one of the things they could have. They had chickens, and they could collect their own eggs and try to raise a flock, essentially. But if you raised too many chickens, then people would steal them because everybody was short of food, and there's a lot of hunger and privation described in this story. But the way they talked about eggs when they would fry up an egg, well, you've got to just do it perfectly and this and that. And when I got done reading that book, I went over and I fried myself an egg the way that they had said to do it, and I've never gone back. I realized that I didn't like eggs because of the way I'd been cooking them. I was overcooking them, and they were getting that chalky yolk in the middle, and it just wasn't very good. And if you say, well, I don't like soft eggs, well, you still don't need to have a chalky egg. Like you can cook an egg properly without having it all chalky in the middle. These days, I'll eat an egg just as long as it's hot, as long as the bottom is cooked and white. People say, "Oh, that egg looks raw." I say, "Yeah, that's fine. It tastes good. I'm happy eating it." You could sub an egg for any animal protein. You can put it into almost any meal that you have, and eggs will fill that gap. Even before I had my heart attack, I had chickens, and I had lots of eggs, and I was poor. And like I would buy chicken feed and turn that into eggs, and then I would eat my eggs. I had dozens of eggs. When I was gonna try to sell them, and I wasn't doing a good job. I wasn't marketing them well. So finally, I just started eating them, and I lost a bunch of weight just eating eggs. I had as many eggs a day as I wanted, and it's eating 5, 8, 10 eggs a day. I don't think I'd ever cook up less than 6 at a time. And the weight just fell off me. Lots of eggs, lots of rice. And rice isn't even good for weight loss. It's one of the things that I'm allowed to have because it's low in lectins. But it also, when I eat a lot of rice, I get fat. That's why I'm packing a little bit of extra weight right now. This morning when I stepped on the scale, I was 148 pounds. And just a week and a half ago, I was 156, and I was eating a lot of rice then. So it makes a big difference. You know, as soon as I start eating a lot of rice, the pounds start creeping on. Rice, you know, it's a simple starch, so as soon as it hits your mouth, it starts turning into sugar. Salads with homemade dressings, that's a new game changer that I've introduced into my life. I never used to like salad dressing at all. That's why I make mention, especially of the dressing. I would eat salad with just greens. Like, just give me the greens. When Mom was making a salad, I would say, okay, well, just put some aside for me, without any dressing on it, and that's good for me. I'm not looking for the dressing. The dressing bothers me. And when I started doing this, I didn't want vinegar in my dressing, so I put olive oil on it because they said you had to eat the olive oil to get the calories, and I didn't like the taste of the olive oil just straight the way it was. So then I started adding some balsamic vinegar to it, and that's little sweet and sour flavor. It covered up the part of the vinegar or the olive oil that I didn't care for, and suddenly I really liked it. Also, now I'm eating a garlic cayenne balsamic vinaigrette with sriracha and Tabasco to make it interesting, and I love it. I had a salad last night later than I should have. It was probably 10 o'clock, and I was like, you know what? I'm having a salad. It's, you know, I'm hungry. I wasn't hungry earlier on, so I thought I'd just make it through the night without eating. But around that time, I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna have a salad. I'm hungry. I want something. I think it was 10:30. Um, Crunchy food is something that's kind of missing from this diet. And I don't mean like broccoli or carrots or whatever. You can have those crunch. But I'm like talking like thin crunchy food, like crackers. Crackers are out. You're not allowed to eat wheat. You're not allowed to eat any grains except for rice. It's the only, no grains, no pseudo grains, no quinoa, no amaranth, no, none of that. No corn, especially. Corn, wheat, and soy are the worst things that you can put into your body, according to Dr. Gundry. Sesame snaps are my new cracker. Although in the last couple of days, I was looking through the Plant Paradox recipes, and I saw he actually does have a recipe in there for making your own crackers, which I'm going to do. I miss crackers a lot. That was something that I didn't know that was that important to me, but I really, really, really miss crackers. Seafood is your best animal protein that you can eat. That's mainly what I eat now. I eat a lot of fish, salmon and tuna mostly, but I also eat shrimp, and I got some cod and some haddock in my freezer outside. You can eat wild game. You can eat pasture-raised beef, pasture-raised chicken, pasture-raised turkey, pasture-raised pork even. You can eat those things, but commercially raised, to get the fattest pig in the shortest amount of time, they feed them a lot of garbage, and the animals end up concentrating that garbage, and I mean dietary garbage. The animals concentrate that garbage and the lectins in their bodies, and then when we eat the pig or the cow or whatever, then we're eating that garbage as well, and it transfers over to us, and then we're just another step in the concentration process. And the lectins are what mess with you. They make you gassy. They make you smell bad. They're the unpleasant part of food is what they are. They're the food's pesticides, and they mess with us really badly. I consider seafood to basically be moving vegetables. Um, will you miss sugar? Of course you will. Everybody loves sugar. It's like crack for kids. It's addictive, super addictive, and you're gonna miss it. I miss it. That's why I like the sesame snaps. They've got a little bit of honey on them, and honey's okay. You can eat stevia. You can eat some sugar substitutes, but most of the sugar substitutes like NutraSweet or acesulfame, potassium, or any of those, they're all bad for you. You're not supposed to eat them. They don't do anything good for you. They mess with your hormonal system, which is what wheat does as well. The wheat feeds your gut bacteria, which then kick off the hormonal signals to your body. When they run low of food, they say, hey, send us some more of that wheat. That's what we need to feed our children with. And that's the unhealthy gut bacteria. The healthy gut bacteria just says, well, we really like these avocados. Keep the citrus coming, can we have some broccoli, please? Cotton candy tastes great, but you can't live on it. Broccoli, on the other hand, you can eat broccoli 7 days a week and it'll only do you good. Um, Butter is okay. You can have a little bit of, you can have butter. Not, you don't overdo it. Don't slather it on. Um, but most dairy products are not approved on this meal plan that I eat. Citrus is still allowed. You can have citrus, although with my heart attack, some of the pills that I take are interfered with by grapefruits, so I can't eat grapefruit, which is unfortunate because I really like it. Um, yeah, and I'm hoping that I can control my diet as much as I can with or control my health with my diet. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to control my health with my diet so that I can get off of as many of these pills that they have me on as possible, because I don't like being stuck on a pharmaceutical diet. It's the idea of being on pills for the rest of my life. You know, I could have just done heroin. I would have had a shorter life and probably maybe not as nice, but at least then I would know that I'm taking something that's addictive that's just going to be stuck with me forever. And that's not even true. You know, I know people who have kicked heroin, and you know, they still kind of crave it on certain levels, but I think it's more of an emotional hook that draws people to things like that. Avocados kick ass. They're one of my new favorite foods. The first time I ever ate one willingly, I was literally shedding tears. I wasn't sobbing, but I was shedding tears. It was a sad moment for me. But I wanted to live. I had things that I wanted to live for, people that I wanted to live for, to share my life with for a longer period of time. So that's why I took up avocados. And I'm so grateful that I did. You know, my girlfriend at the time, uh, or I guess she was my ex-girlfriend at the time when I started eating them. She had told me to eat them with Cajun seasoning, and then I added the lemon to it. And the first one, I could barely gag it down. But after a while, my gut biome said, "Hey, we keep that avocado stuff coming. We love it." Now, today, I just the slightest sprinkle of Cajun seasoning on it, half a lemon, and yeah, I pounded it down like it was McDonald's French fries. You're probably going to hear me. Yeah, it's going to sound like I'm ripping on being fat. I have a low opinion of being fat because I was fat, and I know what led me to be fat, and I didn't like it. Once I discovered that I was fat, I was a little bit grossed out by what I had done to my body. See, fat isn't gross. I'm not saying that being fat is gross. It's unnecessary. It's dead weight that we carry around. It would be like loading up the entire back of your truck with jerry cans full of gasoline just in case you might need them, and then never using a drop of it. You know, maybe adding a rack onto your truck so that you can add more jerry cans of gasoline. It's an unnecessary thing that we do to ourselves. And I mean, maybe we're feeding ourselves to offset unhappiness, or maybe we're feeding ourselves to offset emotional trauma from when we were children or as we grew up. Or, you know, maybe you're like me and you just got fat as a kid and you never realized that you were fat, and you just lived your life thinking that that was normal. For whatever reason, it's an unnecessary lifestyle choice, and it is a choice. It's yeah, it's you can choose to not eat that way. You know, when my dad eats a modified version of the plant paradox diet for now while he's working out away from home, and his plan is to get on it full force when he gets back. He and my mom both want to get on it. My dad last year, when he runs grader. When he got off the grader to come back here and work on his house, he was, I think, I won't blow the whistle on his weight, but I think he was 50 pounds heavier than he currently is right now. And we don't actually know how heavy he currently is because he hasn't jumped on a scale lately. But he says he feels a lot better, and he feels more active and more able to do things, and his knees don't hurt. For me, it was my feet. My feet used to just kill me after a day at work. I'd be like, "Oh, it's because I have a high arch." And no, it was because I was fat. It was because I was carrying around an extra 60 pounds, or 50, 55, whatever. I would frequently get up to 195. And, today I'm under 150. And I know that because I got down to 137, I know that I'm still a little bit heavy. I'm packing an extra 10, 11 pounds right now that I could do without. So yeah, Dad, he was 50 pounds heavier than he was the last time he stepped on a scale. And if anything, he says he feels maybe he's maintained, but he also says that he was looking at a pair of 36-inch waist pants the other day, and he hasn't worn them since he was about 40. So it makes a big difference, you know. The the other thing that we talked about, we talked for like an hour just about our diet when I spoke with him night before last, and we talked about it so extensively. And the one thing that he said that really stuck with me is he said, I don't eat to be full anymore. I don't eat to get the bulk into me. I eat for the flavor. He said the food tastes so good, and I just enjoy it so much. And that's what I've learned as well. You know, I don't need to make my gut stick out. I don't need to pack myself to, oh, I couldn't eat another bite. No, I eat until the hunger pangs go away. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm okay. I probably don't need to eat anymore. And I don't. And I stay satisfied for, you know, 6, 8 hours. When I first started even eating avocados, I ate one in the morning around 9. And I was just going to eat when I next got hungry. I went out and I split wood all day, and I didn't get hungry until 2 p.m. You know, that's 5 hours. 5 hours without eating that I didn't suffer at all. Around 2 p.m. I was like, oh, I think I'm starting to get a little hungry. I think I'm going to go in and make something. And it was a game changer, you know, like to eat those healthy fats and to be fueling yourself in that way. It's amazing. I just I can't put it into words properly. Really, I mean, I probably could if I, you know, didn't mind sitting here and just soliloquizing and boring you, but I can't, you know, it's just an amazing experience. I spend less time cooking, I spend less time eating, I put less bulk into me, and I go further. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. You shouldn't mess with fat people, especially if you're likely to get into a physical confrontation with them. Fat people are very strong. They carry around extra dead weight all day, every day. Every single thing they do, rolling over in bed, they do with, and I was doing it with an extra 40, 45 pounds on average. Just whenever I was 40 pounds overweight. You know, any day of the month, any day of the year, I was packing around like when I put it to my dad first, I said, Dad, it's like carrying a bale of rice. Because when we lived overseas, you would get 21-kilo bags in a bale, right? And it was all wrapped up, and so you could carry it easily. And yeah, it was 20 kilos of rice. You know, I said, Dad, it's a bale of rice. I said, imagine standing up, imagine holding a bale of rice and standing up from your chair right now. I said, that was me. Everything I did. Walk across the room, carry a bale of rice. Walk up the hill, bale of rice. You know, load stuff into the back of your truck, bale of rice. Every single thing that you did, you were being inhibited by this dead weight. You know, in my case, it was 20 kilos, at least. It was actually closer to 30. And I'm not really proud of it. You know, I have an excuse, you know, like, well, I didn't know I was fat. I just thought it was normal, blah, blah, blah. But I get into a fist fight with somebody, and when we got parted, or before we got into the fist fight, they'd be like, whatever, you fat fuck, or, well, you know, they'd say something mean to me, and I'd be like, I'm not fat. I don't know what you're talking about. Because I was in denial about it. But I was very strong, you know, for a guy who, you know, should be around 140, 145 pounds, maybe in really good shape. I can lift 300 pounds with little, well, I mean, not with little effort. I can lift and carry 300 pounds, just like wrap my arms around it and shuffle across the yard. I can do that. That's not out of the question for me. So I know being fat made me very strong. Uh, but you can't take advantage of that strength properly. It also made me sweaty and flushed a lot, you know, and it made me smell bad. Now I don't smell bad. I'll ask other people, and they say, no, you smell fine, you smell good. Losing weight is not easy. You know, I make it sound like, oh, the weight just fell off me. And it felt like it did. I jumped on the scale every day and I saw the weight just going away. But it's not easy. It's a commitment, you know. If you eat the wrong foods, you feed that part of your gut biome that says, oh, really? A cinnamon bun with cream cheese icing? Can we have another, please? And it's not healthy for you. It's not good for you. You know, it's good for your gut, the unhealthy gut bacteria that you have coming along as you know, kind of unwanted um, stowaways, right? And suddenly you find out that the stowaways have taken over the ship, and so it's not a good situation. But losing weight it's a commitment. You have to be committed to it. Um, I'm lucky that I hit this diet though, where I don't feel hungry all the time. The only time I really feel hungry a lot is if I eat some crackers, or if I eat that cinnamon bun, or I eat something that I'm not supposed to, and I feed that part of my gut. For the next 3 days, I'll crave those types of food until those gut bacteria die down to a manageable level again. But for the 3 days that they're there, let me tell you, they put the effort in, that's for sure. I'm kind of just looking at my clock here. I'm starting to run a little bit short of time, and not even short of. I just don't want to have to uh, make this into a second part because I've run out of my notes and I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head now. But just remember that you know, although losing weight isn't easy, you can do it. Stick to something. The only hard part that's hard is the first 3 days. After that, your body adjusts to it, and you're like, oh, I'm not hungry all the time. Oh, I just want a little bit. You know, it's you step into this new paradigm, and it's dietarily for me, it's like the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. You know, carrying around dead weight isn't good for you, and you know, the only time I've ever seen somebody really succeed by being fat is on the show Alone. You look for the fattest guy going into Alone, and that's probably the person who's gonna make the best showing of themselves. It's I watched that right from the first season, and the fattest guy almost always does the best. Anyway, I can see my time is running a little bit short here. I wasn't too uh, exact on when I started the video, and I've only got about 34 minutes tops to shoot. So I'm just going to take this time to say thank you for taking the time to watch me and hear me out. And I really hope that you can step into a healthy dietary schedule and have an awkwardly awesome day. And remember that God loves you, and so do I.